So today Gen Zs don't want labels, they don't care about the price, or they want this on trend. So in a way, are you by any chance promoting luxury brands in a dupe fashion?
I didn't get the question actually. Luxury brands, right?
So basically, you're taking all the trends from the catwalk and from the world over, creating the trends. So is it a dupe culture that is getting promoted with this Gen Z?
I think it's not a dupe culture, it's the access. So we have never tapped the consumers of luxury brands. And what we are tracking is social media the most. So if I give you an example, which is like 4 years ago, we saw this trend happening called silk scarf top. People were tying scarves on the and making it a top. We introduced a product which was a silk scarf top. I could see that, like, I happened to be Goa in the next week of the launch of the top. I could already see 2-3 girls wearing that in the different shapes and different styles. So I think what we are trying to do is trying to understand the trends through social media, because that's the revolution, that's the content penetration, that's something which is actually getting into the new age. So that's how the legacy is not a legacy anymore, because everything is so fresh. So yeah, I don't think it's dupe. It's like understanding people and just giving them access to what they want.
But it's aspirational, right? And the trends that is coming on board on social media also, it starts from high fashion. First it's on the catwalk, then it comes down to high street, and then eventually to everyone. So how do you tap the trend, Nandini?
So I think like most of the people try to look at an aspiration for a product, but aspiration is always a lifestyle. And there's a lot of difference between a lifestyle of a luxury product owner and a Gen Z girl who's trending on an Instagram. So I think like when we tap those trends, we try to actually integrate ourselves into those lifestyles rather than a particular product or something like that. So when you say like trends trickle down from a luxury brand to different countries, there was a huge time gap between that earlier, but now it's the same time. I think I would say like before all this couture and everything goes out to the market, it's already, the trend is gone. Because there is also a gap between their runways and actually going in, and what we deal into is too fast, like super quick trends and all that stuff. So I think we are going parallel with them right now when it comes to, but it's not a direct competition because it's a very different segment for me.
Lovely. So Sumit, what is your thought on this? You churn out trends like every month or every 2 weeks, every week. So how are you doing it? What is the algorithm behind it?
So I think the algorithm is the tech behind it. I think at NewMe, we envision to build a brand with the mindset of disrupting the supply chain. The idea was to make sure that how do you stay relevant with the supply chain side of things. I think as a country, we have enough demand. Consumers are very young. As Rahul just pointed out, that consumers want latest trends. And I beg to differ with you on the entire runway thing. I think today runways are no more that important. Important is the stylist or the celebrities or what the colors are trending. And unfortunately, with a lot of global platforms, we talk about Pantone of the month, of the year, etc. Trends are much more faster. And typical companies, if you look at them, they are always very inefficient supply chain side. Like if you look at, say, India 5 years back, pre-COVID era, India had only 4 drops in a year. And consumers have changed. Now, and the reason is because Instagram has become so exciting that your fashion is every day changing now. So why do you want to wear something which no one is going to wear after 2 months? The idea is you have to go and solve for consumers. So I always believe that no one was solving for consumer mind. People are solving from their mind. Okay, I want this, supply chain is difficult, let me do this only. Consumers don't want anymore. Consumers want new thing every single time. And newness is the biggest hook today. And I don't think anybody in this room or any, like they will not wear same thing through same event next time. Because they have to create a content, they have to go on social media, they have to create selfie, whatever. So I think the entire generation shift, which is the, what I call it the entire tectonic shift of consumer actually,
has changed the entire fashion industry also. People are now looking for great designs, and since we're talking about Gen Z, they're still coming in workforce. So they will never be spending too much money on this. And if you try and charge more than them, then what happens is that you only buy once in 3 months. I want to sell like grocery. Today, I don't think like why quick fashion or quick commerce is becoming big, because people used to first stock for a month, then move to week. Now people are planning every day fresh in the morning aayega, I'll buy that only. Fresh fruit, fresh vegetable. Fashion is that. For NewMe, we think fashion like a grocery business. A style has to have expiry date. Why do I sell it for 2 years? At NewMe, in last 2.5 year journey, we have launched almost 40,000 styles. And out of that, only 4 of them stay till now. Rest all have changed. Most of styles go out in 2 months. So the idea is freshness is where consumers want, and that's the reason why companies like us and Urbanic are growing, because the supply chain becomes the super sexy thing behind the scene, which no one can copy.
Absolutely. So Rahul, would you agree with that the freshness is what is making the Masstige brand so popular?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's how I was explaining about social media trends as well. It's always about being trendy, being fresh, the newness which we talk about. So yeah.
So are we heading towards a future where branding will not matter, it's only about the trend, price and the community?
No. I think I strongly believe that brands will matter a lot more. When you say Masstige, I call it premium affluent or affluent aspirational. Brands will have to play the role of affluence. That's very important, because there was a product called Tata Nano, great product, super flop, had no aspiration to it. I think if you call as a Sasta brand, people will not buy after a point. And that's very important. So while you will always play on design, aesthetic, trend, but you cannot be talking on pricing.
Right.
Because the moment you talk on pricing, then your consumer persona changes completely. Then your persona is shifting from a aspirational India to a value fashion India.
Right.
And value fashion is very different brain. So I think at least at NewMe, we're very clear that brand will play a very big role. And if I have to define in a very simple thing, fashion is equal to A, E and V.
Right.
So A is aspiration to it, E is expression led. A young woman of India, when she wears something exciting, she'll post on Instagram for sure. And validation important. If a young woman of India posts something on Instagram and her friend says, where do you buy it from? I'm telling you, she'll buy next time from us.
Right.
And if someone says, oh, this one looks good on you, I've lost a customer.
Right. What about you, Rahul? You think branding is important?
Very important for me, though. It's very important. I think what we are discussing right now as well is maybe a product. So maybe newness and the speed is the product, but I have to still be a brand to communicate it.
Right.
So for an example, like a coffee is a product. Like this, a product is maybe being trendy. But again, that has to come into packaged under a brand, and that is always going to be a very important way to communicate to consumers, and a very important way to also make money and do a proper business as well. Yeah.
Lovely.
Sorry, just to add, if suppose I ask you a question, Nandini, which brand are you wearing? If you are shying about it, then it's not a brand, it's a label.
Right.
But you would tell, hey, say I'm wearing NewMe, I'm building a brand there. So that flaunt value is very critical. When 5 years back, Apple iPhone launched in India, it was a flaunt value.
Right.
That I am carrying Apple, you are not carrying Apple. Today that's gone, right? But still, it's one of the biggest brand of phones today in India. So I think that flaunt value is very critical in brand, and especially in fashion, because if you have to stay relevant, you have to remain flaunt value very high.
Right. I actually remember a quote from Confessions of Shopaholic. So the heroine of the book says that I'm always dressed in brands because I don't know when somebody will stop me and ask me for the brand. So I should always be prepared, right down till what I'm wearing inside. So I think fashion is the same thing. Yeah. Now, where exactly are your brands expanding? Is it the metropolitan, tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3? Where exactly is your customer base today?
For me, I think it's majorly tier 1 and all the tier 1 and tier 2 actually, not tier 3, because the kind of outfits we offer and all that stuff, it fits a very tier 1 lifestyle. Although I always say that there is a psychographic of the mixed tiers everywhere, but still the major chunk of the audience and everything belongs to tier 1 and tier 2, because tier 2 also has increased the culture of going out, going in restaurants and all that stuff, because I come from a very small town, and when I was a kid, I think we used to go out for a restaurant like once a year maybe.
Right.
Otherwise, that also like to eat something which we cannot make at home. Now it's like you eat everything like outside only. So yeah. So I think tier 1, tier 2 to answer.
That's the aspirational place, right?
Yeah.
What about
For
you,
us, it's
Sumit?
a very different. So we have a very healthy mix of 1, 2, and 3. And again, the idea is 1 and 2 constitute a big part of it, but 3 is a very big part of us coming us. Because again, like I'll be example, we opened a store in Indore, and we saw people from the likes of Bhopal and very small parts of MP visiting to a store, like planning for one day before it.
Right.
And the idea was they will come and buy 10, 12 outfits together for at least next 6 months.
Right.
So what I feel is in tier 3 especially, the accessibility is very difficult and money is reaching there. Consumers have got disposable income, especially young generation. Savings have gone down. So while in tier 1 you have a massive competition fighting for the same wallet share, but in tier 2 and tier 3, very few brands were going percolating the consumer aspiration there.
Right.
And once, as Rahul just said, when you build a very aspirational brand, tier 2 and tier 3, unlock becomes very easy. Because then you don't just go and push them for discount. They will come for the flaunt value.
Right.
So I think that's what I think at NewMe we are doing, that we want to build that flaunt value every single time. That can you wear and say, I'm wearing NewMe? And that's the reason why the social media, the Instagram has to all talk about that flaunt value every single hour. We don't talk about pricing, we don't talk about discounting. That kills the brand aspiration.
Right, perfect. Now, both of you are in the same segment, but the philosophy is very different. Urbanic is completely e-commerce, and NewMe is omni-channel. So, what is the philosophy behind these two? Why only e-commerce, and why? How come you've gone all omni?
So I think for us, what we fundamentally believe is true brands are built online, offline together. I think we wanted to build a brand which is extremely relatable and trustworthy. I think for us, very important thing that learning we came was the moment we opened our first store, the trust in the brand went 1000x, not 100,000x. People are believing in us because the prices were too good to be true. So what happened is that unlocked a very strong consumer trust on day one.
Right.
In online, that is journey of 5-6 years. Urbanic has traveled. So they have taken 5 years to build a trust in the brand. Commendable job they have done. We wanted to cut short our time. And we started, and India, if you look at Indian data, 95% users still buy offline.
Right.
Why do I leave a channel, such a big channel, to competition? If I can do it faster, let me go and capture the market there. So that was fundamental logic. Second thing, we believe that consumer doesn't change anymore. We had a panel of quick fashion, right? Quick commerce, right? Quick fashion, next big thing in India. Quick commerce, 5 years back was like, it will not work in India. It proved wrong. People are moving to quick commerce now. I feel that fashion has to where consumers are. Our consumer, believe me, the same consumer is buying online, offline also. We always thought, why will they go offline? They are Gen Z, they are more data focused, they are more. But I can tell you, a consumer knows where to go and what to buy. They're so smart.
Right.
So I think for a brand, you have to be where they are. We took a conscious call to be not any marketplace, no quick commerce. We did everything our own. So we believe that we control the experience super closely to us. And that creates a lot of pull again.
Right.
So omnichannel just adds to it plus.
Lovely. And Rahul, what was your thought process?
I think we are a very digital first brand, and that has helped us really well. We are very, very inclined towards data, the understanding which we get from the consumers when they spend time online, also to more connected platforms. So a lot of people who are trying to do social commerce as well right now, I think we have built social commerce itself because I was checking the data as well. Till now, there are 2.5 million mentions for Urbanic, and already in 8 months, we are almost 900K mentions for Savannah. So that amount of content is generated, that amount of mentions have been generated on social media. That's exactly a very strong arm for us as a social commerce, and also helps us to maintain all our existing business models where we want to have a very like inventory less than 1%, have the offering as trendy as possible. So we are working more towards making the online experience better, and we definitely want to control the whole experience. That's why we don't go on other e-commerce platforms and make sure that our D2C platform is the strongest. As we also mentioned, like we're not catering to tier 3 so much as of now. So what e-commerce platforms gets you is more pin codes. Rest, now everyone can build everything. So I think that's not a problem for us right now. So again, D2C becomes a very important platform for us. Yeah.
Lovely. Now there's one word which kept on and on. One is data and the other is tech. So are you guys actually replacing designers with data scientists?
So I think we've not replaced them.
Closer.
We have not replaced them. We are giving them better tools. So right now also we're working with a lot of designers across the globe. We have designers like in Spain as well, in London as well, who are working with suppliers and people in maybe China, India, or other parts of the country. Everything is happening because of tech. So so to answer that is like we're not replacing them. It's like they can actually, they don't have to worry about inventory anymore. They just have to worry about the design. Earlier, traditionally, every designer has to worry about inventory as well. So, yeah.
Lovely. And Sumit?
We are kind of replacing designers.
Fantastic. I knew it.
We believe that design has to be data-led. I think at NewMe, we are not a creative company. We're a company built on high efficiency and high churn rate of designs. And that can only happen when you eradicate all kind of subjectivity in the business and bring a lot of objectivity which is led by data and tech. So at NewMe, we believe that the future of fashion is going to be AI-led. Creators will play a role for very premium brands, but for NewMe kind of brands, we will always be trend first, value first, and create amazing designs at a very affordable prices. So that's the DNA we're building, and I'm very proud to say that we use a lot of AI, which a lot of companies don't even think of, and that allows us to be always stay ahead of the curve at this time.
Lovely. One last question. Does mass aspiration and mindful consumption, can they coexist?
I think consumption in India is still, I was looking at data report. If you look at consumption of India versus the top 4 economies, which is ahead of India, we are still 1/5 of the consumption, 1/5. That means such a headroom for grow right now. As a country which is coming out of a lot of the the blockages and all that, we have now become a global superpower. Last 5-6 years, you start seeing India playing active role in a lot of geopolitics, a lot of things on that side. So I feel consumption has to grow up massively. At least for next 10 years, if we don't grow consumption, how will you take economy to 7-10 trillion economy? You can't take it otherwise. So to unlock the economy of $10 trillion in say next 10 years, consumption has to grow 5x. Right. We have to agree on that one thing. That will mean more infrastructure, that will need innovation on supply chain, innovation on demand. People are getting money in hand. So I don't think today any brand, any founders think about consumption. I think the fundamental thing is, why will you exist for next 10 years? Right. That relevance every single time has to be the biggest decision making at the founding team member. Right. I think at NewMe, we believe we have a very strong headroom to grow. We're a country of 150 billion people, something like that, 150 crore people, but half of them are still not wearing clothes.
And if you look at fashion trend, India is way behind. While we produce for so many global brands from India, but if you look at fashion trend of India, I think
we rate -5, not even 0.
Lovely.
Yeah, I completely agree on this actually. Consumption has not even started yet. It's starting. So I think we'll be worrying about coexistence later maybe.
If you go to like my last company was in Paris, and Paris people dress up to office. People dress up for a evening coffee. It doesn't happen in India. In India we go in pajamas. That has to change now. Sorry, but it's changed. We have to have some basic things from here which will change Indian mindset, Indian economy. And I think consumption, I fundamentally believe, if India has to become a $10 trillion economy in next 10 years, we have to consume 5 times more.
Fantastic. That's a great learning for all the new generations which are coming up and the millennials who are already consuming quite a bit. So I'll open the floor for questions for about 5 minutes, and there's already a question.
Any questions? Yeah, we'll pass on the mic. Can we have the mic being passed on there, please? Um, yes, sir, it's working.
My question is to Sumit. Sumit, you talked about churning out new designs, right? So I want to understand, how are you able to get the new designs manufactured so quickly? Is there a particular setup or system you have, set it up with the vendors? And have another question is that with so many new drops, how are you managing the inventory to avoid dead stock?
So I think that's a fantastic question. I have to reveal the secret sauce. Why do you manufacture designs? You don't need to manufacture designs. It's Gen AI. Get a design, slide with image, and see data behind it. Have a tech solution which can produce just in time. So what you see on drops every week, 99% of that doesn't exist in real. It goes to production post data analysis. So it's a very tight, integrated supply chain which unlocks this value for consumer. That's why I'm saying the role of technology is so superior right now in India that if you have to disrupt the entire fashion supply chain, you have to be ahead of the curve 10 steps ahead of that curve. Gen AI has unlocked that for us. And that's why inventory becomes minimal. So again, to conclude that, I believe fashion industry globally has been killed by one sweet pill. The sweet pill is inventory. Any company who has gone bankrupt, the 99% problem is inventory has gone wrong. So fix the pill. Don't eat it. Simple.
Thank you.
Hi.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hi.
Actually, they are.
Anyone else?
Hey, hi guys. Sumit, Aaron here from Whatmore. So
I know you guys.
yes, I didn't want to bring that up, but either way, like I have a curious question, right? So I have been following you guys, even Urbanic as well, right? Like you guys are just scaling month in, month out. So my question is, why do legacy brands, let's say any of the top legacy brands, right? Why do they have so much friction in terms of adopting AI? Because you just mentioned Gen AI, right? So why is there so much friction for legacy brands to adopt AI, but when it comes to like startups, you guys adopt it much faster? So what's the difference in mentality? I want to know this from your perspective.
It's a controversial question again, but I'll answer it still. See, I think nothing is different. I think I am a very big believer of disruption happening from outside industry. At NewMe, all four of us have zero experience of fashion in their life. I don't think I'm a fashion expert, and I don't intend to be as well. I think I love the business behind it. I think if you look at any global company which has become very big, most of them have come from non-industry. If you look at Travis from Uber, he had never run a taxi, right? If you look at Swiggy, Zomato, they've never delivered food before, but they built something which is iconic. I think that's a DNA difference. I think big companies have a very strong efficiency, which startups need to learn. We still burn cash, they don't. So they're profitable, but I think there's a cost we pay for that, which they don't. So I think as you become bigger and bigger, your risk appetite goes down and down. Startups, we can take more risk thing because there's nothing to lose. They are the public sector companies, they have investors to manage, they have to manage markets, which is a very difficult job, trust me.
With that, thank you so much. We have a question. I think looks like we have one question there. Can we quickly pass on the mic?
Hi guys, Sumit and Rahul. This question is for both of you. I'm Avin from Brandboy. So basically, I was reading an article which said that consumption in India has gone down post September 2024 by a certain percentage. I think 5 or 7, not too sure. So what do you think? Where do you see the consumption increasing? At what point? And what is the trend of this up and down? Is there some statistic that you guys can throw some light on this, please?
I don't track it. We are growing. So we are happy with that. So honestly, it's down or up. I think as founders, we focus on inputs. The inputs is build great designs, amazing price, people will come and buy someday. No inventory allows us to create new design next week. So the idea is minimize your failure rates. I think, honestly, I don't have the answer to the question. Consumption going up and down, this could be cyclical. I don't know. I'm applying my MBA brain, it could be a cyclical thing. Not much idea, sorry.
Yeah, I think this question has been asked to me by multiple people. But what I see right now, at least from our data, what we have seen after launching a new brand, Savannah, as well, we see a very good growth. I don't know if we are specifically in an affordable market, so maybe that's the reason or something like that. But then, yeah, for us, like the last Q4, like a global Q4, like December one, was really good, and we were able to actually achieve all the targets by 35% more. So still, there's a lot of depth in the market yet. Yeah.
Thanks.
Lovely. Thank you so much. It was an extremely insightful discussion, and with Sumit giving us a lot of controversial statements, starting from that catwalk is not relevant anymore. It's fantastic. I don't know what kind of traction we'll get when we post these stories.
But for me, it is relevant.
Rahul, you are also implicated since you're sitting with us, so you are also implicated in this. So thank you so much.